Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga. And finally, a green arrow is back. That's what I wanted, and that's what it's done. I have my first green window after a dismal game week 2, game week 3, 53 points on the blog, 266k overall rank. It was going red after Haaland's penalty miss, but it turned around because he scored. And then if you had him as captain, you did make some good points of it. We'll run this quickly. We'll go over the reaction of the review of how my game week eventually went. Haaland penalty. Mbuemo was the most transferred in player in the Premier League, but then how he has blanked and what will this mean? How did this affect me? So let's jump into it, and I'll start with the team that I had. As you can see, currently the points that I received basically were majorly from my midfield. Diaby, Bruno Fernandes doing the job for me, Saka getting that goal. And at one point, I was like, Fulham scored so early. I was like, what is going to happen? And then Arsenal kind of came back. They were up to 1 before Fulham also scored again to make it 2-2. I was sad that Saliba lost his points immediately, but I think the talking point for this review for me is like not having one Chelsea only. Gusto gets two. Like he had Gusto had 2 bonus points. Nicholas Jackson and Sterling get 3 bonus points as well. He was the man of the match. He was the one on fire for Chelsea. We saw the old Sterling. It just reminded me of how we loved him in City and how he played in City, and how we have missed him to kind of, we've not seen him kind of perform at that level. But for me, I think the savior was the midfield. Of course, Mitoma or like Brighton as a whole, he's getting yellow cards for fun. I don't understand why players like eventually, it's not that great. It's not that good for me. Like, I don't feel like I want to kind of have a player who kind of keeps getting, and that's maybe why he might be on a chopping block for me. But we'll get into that preview video possibly when we're doing some transfers later today. But on the overall points, 53 points, getting the majorly from Bruno, who knew that again, Nottingham Forest, they had to come back. They were down 2-0. He received a yellow as well. But then as you can see, 3 bonus points. He scored the goal with the penalty that he got. He had an assist as well. Rashford also had an assist for that. He gets assist for the penalty that Bruno eventually scored, and that's points to kind of that's the points. That's the avenues to points that Bruno gives you. Like, he has multiple things that he can actually do. He can multiply it with different things. He's a good assister. He is on penalties. He will score. Saka, same. He is generally on penalties. You saw last week that Odegaard took it, but I think Saka is the one. But if they're kind of mixing between each who and when, that's going to be very interesting to kind of go forward. And it's a different problem to have. In my opinion, like what will happen eventually, who will be the actual penalty taker for Arsenal. But then Saka gives me the 8 points. There was a draw again. It was one of those like games where Fulham scored first and then Arsenal came back, but then Fulham scored again. For Manchester United, the comeback was complete. That gave them the good rank there. Diaby, it was a good game. Aston Villa winning 3-1. He was the goal scorer. He had an assist and he got 2 bonus points as well. And he played 72 minutes. So I was happy with his performance. I think he is the one that kind of is sticking out to me still. And I think the only issue that I have with this 5-man midfield is Mitoma, who is not kind of firing on all cylinders. The games don't really get easy, but maybe we'll do it on the review, on the preview for the game before. We'll go over the matches, so on. But then going to the front line, I had issues with Pedro Porro from the start. I did not know if he will start or not, and he did not. I think he started only after 60th minute. He played for the 67th or 8th minute. That's when he got in. And then Alvarez, I think he had a couple of chances. They could have scored. Both Haaland and Alvarez could have scored multiple goals, but then they just didn't have their shooting or like scoring boots on or heads on, in my opinion, where Haaland actually does miss the penalty, which Alvarez actually gets. But then if he had scored it, Like he had missed penalty -2. Like imagine if this would have scored, like he would have got. It was been another massive haul for him. I am of the opinion right now that Nicholas Jackson might be more favored but I want to play with the back with the mid five for some time. So we'll get into the preview later, but then that's how the team kind of performed from the front. And the back, yeah, Brighton did not do themselves favors, and West Ham was like clinical. They were torn apart in my mind. Defensively, Brighton, they missed their chances on top, but then defensively they were like Webster and Weltman. They were like all over the place. So I don't think but Estepinian, I still felt like it's still a hold in my opinion, but then we'll see how his fixtures are not that easy, so he will concede. But then you're thinking of an attacking goal threat from Estepinian, because that adds as a differential, because he plays as a differential then for you, like a lot of people who got the Spurs defensive pair up of Udogie and Pedro Porro, or somebody went for Wendoven. Eventually, I went for Pedro Porro, but I went for him on the bench. I did not want to trust. I trusted this lineup more. He was my first backup, and I felt like he could have. But then now I'm thinking for the next game week, possibly he makes the cut for me in the goal. Saliba, yeah, Fulham scored too early for us to even think about like a clean sheet. That was gone pretty like in 4 minutes. Like it was gone for Onana, who basically had a goal, he conceded 2 goals pretty early on. So in the first 15-20 minutes, there was 2-0. So hence the -1. He received a yellow card as well for time wasting. That was just like, I don't know why. But yeah, it just ends 0. Onana, in Onana we trust. I think he made some couple of good saves as well to keep United in the game. Chelsea, as I said, I wanted to have attacking. Possibly, I wanted a more safer option with having Ben Chilwell. He is the captain, and whenever he gets subbed, he basically is getting subbed before the game ends. Anyhow, and that's kind of what I felt like. Kabore is one of those bench warmers, in my opinion, that he will still stay. Luton, I think he will not drop in value in my mind, and he will stay in value. And I will keep him for a long time. Areola was one that I should have had because the saves that he made and kept. Of course, he did concede as well. It was a different number when he did not have concede as well. Did not concede as well. But then, yeah. That's the game right now. It's 53 points, 266K currently in the world ranking. If I look at the game week history, I think this is the first green arrow after the first red arrow. The team value is interesting, but the bench is consistently at 13 for me. So I'm a little like, I have basically 100 points here if I had played the bench boost. I had 64, and I had 66 points here if I had the bench boost. But then, yes, we don't have bench boost for everything. So I'm waiting for more kind of the Champions League fixtures and shared, and there will be a couple of double game weeks, I'm hoping, or it'll be a fixture congestion. So it's better to keep some options open, and we'll see how this goes. But then I'm happy overall with my game week. It's an overall jump. I'm not that far ahead. The game week rank was not that great. It's still 19, it's 19, 1.9 million, but then better than my game week 2 rank. So I'm happy with the whole game week 3 performance. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you think, and how did your team go? What did you feel works or does not work for you? How will you try? What did your team kind of feel like? Did you have a good game week? Did you not have a good game week? What's your initial feeling? What do you think about my team? What should I possibly do? I have some things in my mind, on my mind that I might try to attempt. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? Do like this video, do share, and do subscribe to the channel. Do catch us on the Instagram as well. And don't forget to send in your DMs and in your idea of like, what do you think I should do, and how did your game week 3 look like? It ended up on a green arrow for me. Hopeful to kind of climb up the ranks slowly and steadily. It's still early game weeks. It's still game week 3 form, and fixture is still on. And by the end of this weekend, we will finally have the transfer window done and shut. Much more consistent squads, people that come in and going, so easy to make a decision. But Let me know what do you think, and see you in the next video.